Hi.
It is an honor to meet you. I have heard tell of you from Mondstadt. Indeed, it is as you have guessed. The Wangsheng Funeral Parlor organizes burials. We ensure that those who pass on do so in peace. Because I can bring you to see Rex Lapis's vessel. Rex Lapis may be the prime of Adepti, but he is ultimately an Adeptus. Many Adepti have left us over the millennia. The times have changed. You must have felt it too when you were at Jueyun Karst. Archons go by many names. The god of contracts, the god of commerce, the god of war, Morax, Rex Lapis. Is the idea that he also has the title of Adeptus so strange? As you have seen, the time of the Adepti is ending, and the time of mankind is slowly dawning. In years past, Liyue's tradition was that a huge memorial service be held to mark the passing of every Adeptus. But this time, the Qixing have made no attempt whatsoever to respect this tradition. It is sacrilege. Deicide or not, the concern of the Wangsheng Funeral Parlor is this. When the traveler, Child has told me a lot about you. Since you have had dealings with the Animo Archon, could I ask you to help me prepare the Geo Archon's last rites? Precisely. Only by participating in the rite of parting will you be able to see the form of Rex Lapis again. If we are agreed, come with me. We will speak of the details as we walk. After having experienced the land of the absentee Archon, traveler, how does it feel to know that our Archon and Adepti are here all around you in Liyue? Indeed, the weight of 3,700 years worth of history runs deepest in the true divinity of Liyue. Organizing the rite of parting should prove to be an enlightening part of your travels. Liyue is the most prosperous of the 7 nations, defended by deities and ruled by the Qixing. As such, the diplomatic maneuverings of the Fatui have gained no purchase here. Ningguang of the Qixing has always been on her guard against the Fatui. That is in all likelihood why Child wants to make use of the Wangsheng Funeral Parlor's connections. I neither know nor do I wish to know. As far as I am concerned, the Fatui are merely financial sponsors. I only wish for Liyue's traditions to endure. These are the advance funds that Child has provided. If you use them up, you can go to him to apply for any subsequent funding. Well then, let us be off. The first step in our preparations shall be to obtain some prized Noctilucous jade worthy of a deity. Noctilucous jade, of radiant grade at the very least. Oh? You want me to decide? That is fine as well. If it were me, the answer would be simple. I'll take them all, boss. Oh, Mora. It is as you say. I suppose I overlooked this particular aspect of the transaction. If one must always consider Mora before acting, then in all things one is bound by Mora. All Mora is currency, but not all currency is Mora. No need to waver. Even when I am constrained by Mora, I have ways of working around my limitations. Evaluating the quality of Noctilucous jade is indeed very tricky. As crude ore, there is little difference in texture, lustrousness, and internal pattern between good and bad jade. Only after the item made using Noctilucous jade has taken shape will you be able to see whether it is up to par or not. If you return to those crafty merchants to quibble, they will counter by saying that your crafting bench is to blame, or that your heat control was poor. But there is a way to truly evaluate this jade, and a true insider would know it. A fool sees the pointer and misses the moon. If you point at the moon with your finger, a wise man knows that you are pointing at the moon, while a fool will only see the finger. The patterns, the facade, these are all the finger. Noctilucous jade is a mystical stone used to light up the darkness, and so its brightness is the important thing. It is the moon. Noctilucous jade of excellent quality would have superior pyro-affinity. In other words, the bluer and brighter the luster of the ore under high temperature, the higher its quality. I have imparted the priceless secrets of the jade trade to you. Now, all that's left is to put it into practice. It can't be helped. Trying to deprive a merchant of his profits would be like forcing a ravenous wolf to vomit up the food in its stomach. Nonetheless, under the right conditions, these thin slices will serve. While we add the high temperatures using pyro, we can use hydro to reinforce it from within. Strictly speaking, asking for samples when we have not yet agreed to purchase the goods is unfair. Trade in Liyue must be based upon fairness. It has been a long time since I last set foot in the Nation of Wind. A friend of mine from Mondstadt would always bring a few bottles of locally brewed dandelion wine whenever he came to visit me in Liyue. It must be said that the famed liquor of the land of pastorals is far better than Sumeru's frigid snake wine. Then we'll take a box of the third type of jade. In the safe hands of the Liyue Qixing and good honest merchants such as yourself, I for one believe that Liyue will continue to prosper as it always has done. That we've made our choice. Let's take this Noctilucous jade back. Right, I'm sorry. I must have forgotten to do that too. Let me see. As I thought, I didn't bring any. Mora, my apologies. Another oversight on my part. Settled then. Let's take this jade to Yujing Terrace. That's where we plan to hold the rite. Leave the jade here. I have already called for a jewelsmith to shape them into the implements that we will need. Ah, yes. I have yet to go and see Child. So, as for the jewelsmith's remuneration... That's right. The Liyue Qixing have acquiesced to using the same location. One must think that they already have someone in mind. Or perhaps they already know. Surely they must have found all the evidence that there is to find here. These things are for the authorities in Yujing Terrace to consider. Trying to help would probably only add to their troubles. Before the rite is conducted, the Exuvia will be kept temporarily in the Golden House.
Golden House?
The only mint in Liyue, which is to say the only mint in Tevat. All the mora that flows throughout the world is minted there.
Wow! Mom thinks it suits more.
Since the rite of parting has the approval of the Qixing, it is a semi-official event. As such, there is already some limited information available. Perhaps each has their motives. But this is the capital of commerce. A little exploitation once in a while is not unacceptable. In Liyue, where the god of contracts reigns, only contracts may not be betrayed. I, for one, have no issue with little maneuvers outside their remit. Well then, we should go and prepare the perfumes used in the rite. honor the gods must be...
Perfumes? Where'll we get those? Do we buy them?
No. Perfumes used to honor the gods must be freshly decocted. The quality of silk flower petals contain a fibrous material of good quality, often used in brocade making. Its scent, however, is most elegant, and is especially suited for solemn events, like giving offerings to gods and adepti. We shall not speak of the details right now. Follow me. We shall go to the merchants to purchase our ingredients. Golden House Maiden, Valley Weaver, and Fate's Yearning. One of each to start with, if you don't mind. Silk flowers exhibit different properties based on how their environmental conditions differ from their ancestral habitat. Nevertheless, these are fine specimens, excellently preserved. Just look at the abundant foliage here, and these stamens, glamorous as a maiden of the Golden House. This strain is an evergreen, and mostly grows under complex hydrological conditions. By contrast, this variety thrives in any dark, damp location, often in large clusters. Morphologically, it is distinguished by the profusion of petals and densely packed stamens, though its powerful scent gives it away just as easily. Lastly, this strain is quite the recluse. Unlike its exuberant cousins, flowers and foliage are minimal, and when in season, it has a subtle yet enduring scent. It was first discovered by the ancients when they scaled the mountains in search of the adepti. Silk flowers have all but disappeared from the wild today due to geographical changes over Liyue's history. Most are not grown by horticulturalists. I possess but a smattering of trivial knowledge. My traveler friend is the one to watch. They are on track to set foot in every corner of the world. I'll take them all, boss.
Again?
How can I put this? When purchasing opera tickets, it is natural to decide based on which singer has the most melodious voice. The same logic applies when purchasing a pet bird. But this silk flower purchase is not an analogous case. The same logic does not apply. Perhaps you don't know. Tradition states that we should decoct perfume from different subspecies of silk flower when making an offering to a statue of the seven. Rex Lapis will then make his own choice between the scents. Like several other tedious and complicated traditions, this one has become simplified over time. But this is the only rite of parting to take place for one of the seven in 3,700 years. As such, I do think we should honor tradition down to the last detail in this case. Now that's settled, a question. Do you have any more? Thank you, boss. I think I speak for all of us when I say that your generosity has saved our skins. Ideally, with the help of an expert. Unfortunately, none of my acquaintances have personal experience in the art of decoction. Hence, I need you to help by asking around in the city. Try the common folk, especially women. We'll wait for you near the statue of the seven. Meet me there when the perfume is ready. Oh, you're back. Don't worry, I haven't waited long. Compared to the watch that Rex Lapis's statues have kept over Liyue, this was but a brief moment.
Well, how can a person compete with a statue?
That is true. Well, have you brought the perfumes?
3 sets, and not one less.
Thank you both. Let us offer them up. Perhaps. Perhaps. Rex Lapis has taken on countless forms. Perhaps that really was one of them. We can leave that to the authorities. Let us focus on the fond farewell for Rex Lapis. Next, I would like the two of you to help me borrow the cleansing bell.
Cleansing bell?
At present, a friend of mine named Madame Ping is the guardian of the cleansing bell. She lives near Yujing Terrace. If you ask her, she will know what to do.
Sure, but aren't you going to come with us?
Ah, I have certain reasons why I cannot be there in person. Please, do this for me. Indeed, this is the cleansing bell. Let's place the perfume we've prepared inside. Of course. How would I know that the bell was with her otherwise? That tone does not suit you. Still, her teapot is indeed very good. There are none better for brewing tea. When a suitable time arrives, I'll bring a spot of fine tea and pay her a visit. Next, we need to purchase kites. No. Kites are children's toys, yes. But they also play various symbolic roles in Liyue's rituals. I will explain it to you. But our next course of action should probably be to purchase the kites first. Yes, thank you. Well, that's because I prefer to share fun things with you. Indeed. These are decorations used in the rite of parting. The 7 kites represent the 7. The design of this kite displays a firm grasp on the cyclicality and eternity so dear to the Electro-Archon. These markings of tree and leaf pay due honor to wisdom and the passage of time. All this on a single kite. Truly astonishing. Justice flows across the surface of the waters. War rages like a flame. As does that which the Cryo-Archon once... Yes. These details are masterfully done. Child, you are as fond of jokes as ever. Well then, the rite of parting requires helping hands as well as materials. We should be able to find some people near the harbor. Venturing into the mountains to capture a few crystal flies seems adventurous enough. A most fair price. Well, you may never have heard of this hero, but it seems you've heard of Mora nonetheless. Thus, I will simply pay the whole sum. Let me see. We are still missing some wooden implements over at Yujing Terrace. They aren't uncommon objects, so I didn't make any special preparations for them.
No problem. That'll be 20,000 Mora for a single trip. How does that sound?
Done. Next, we need some everlasting incense. Is everything okay? The reception, it seems. Hello, little girl. Do you sell everlasting incense here? Surely no prescription is needed to purchase everlasting incense. It's not a controlled substance. Zombies are limited to acting within the confines of their orders. And somehow in this case, the zombie issues her own orders to herself. My dear Chi-Chi, we didn't bring a prescription, I'm afraid. But we do hope that you can still help us find some everlasting incense.
Okay then.
When you give a gift you've made yourself, it's just different. So instead,
How did you manage that?
But Chi-Chi helps you. You help Chi-Chi. Only fair.
Since when do customers need to do favors for customer service staff?
Never mind. Just think of it as a peer-to-peer transaction. That way, everybody wins. Sometimes in Liyue, the art of the deal is simply about victory. Guizhong Ballista. I have heard of this device before. It's a kind of crossbow turret, installed on Mount Qinheng by an adeptus in the distant past. An early mechanical device. Located in Qianheng Pass, it was designed to automatically fire at large monsters, protecting Liyue from external threats. Apparently not quite. This is the first I have ever heard of the Coco Goat. Very well then. Let's start by investigating near the Guizhong Ballista. Perhaps we will find some clues. Ah, these parts look useful. One moment. I will try to repair the device. It is done. The Guizhong Ballista is more intricately designed than I thought.
Ooh! Now how do we turn it on?
It's easy enough. We simply need to do this. Look, it even has a scope. Not a turret, a Guizhong Ballista. Also, kindly state your name before you ask a question. It's just good manners. Tut tut. Vandalizing the legacy of an adeptus for selfish gain. Disgraceful behavior. It is not we who need reprimanding, but you. Forgive us. We were unable to fulfill our end of the contract. We found no trace of the Coco Goat Adeptibeast of which you speak.
Coconut milk.
Huh?
I owe you both an apology. I hastily agreed to what appeared to be an equitable agreement with this zombie child, when perhaps I should have undertaken further due diligence. Might I ask who... Do you sell everlasting incense in this fine establishment?
Everlasting incense? Why, of course we do.
Whew, at last! Things are finally starting to come together.
3 million mora. Top quality. Guaranteed.
You might as well just rob the Golden House! Oh, but the Cheesing have taken it over for now. Security will be...
3 million. An innocuous number in and of itself, though practically speaking, it could be a hard sum to come by. This is correct. 2,990,000. Also an innocuous number in and of itself, though practically speaking, it is a whole 10,000 less than the original sum of 3 million. Well, now that this is settled, we must head back to Yujing Terrace. Mr. Child, Dr. Baiju, little Miss Chi-Chi, see you soon. Well, as it stands, we've hired helpers, and we've acquired the everlasting incense. The completion of our preparations is not far off.
Whew, finally!
Well, traveler, have you gained anything from our adventure so far? Odd. Which is it, I wonder? The questions that such travels raise are ever so complicated. Well, I'll leave you to ruminate over it yourself. As to remuneration for your help, I've decided to treat you to a meal. Oh, Ah, yes, don't worry. I will remember to bring the Mora this time. Tonight, I shall take you both to an old hole in the wall, praised throughout Liyue. Indeed. Let us meet near the harbor, at third round knockout. Ah, you're here. There's no need to order. I've already done so. Third round knockout is not for lightweights, like those taverns in Mondstadt. Here, the owner does not take such unorthodox orders as fruit juice. I ordered some wine-fermented sweet rice balls for you, if that counts. An invitation to visit the Jade Chamber is a rare honor indeed. You'd best be on your way now. But don't forget about the rite of parting. Once you've finished at the Jade Chamber, meet me at Dihua Marsh. Right on time. I myself only arrived moments ago. Did you enjoy your visit to the Jade Chamber? Indeed. It's second to none in all of Liyue. Then you met with Ningguang, I trust? What did you talk about with her? Oh, so you also met with Keqing then? What did she have to say? No respect for the divine. Indeed, contrary to the ever-bold Keqing, Ningguang is more of a businesswoman at heart, though they are both members of the Qixing. Although she's friendly, there's no way of clearly discerning her true intentions. Yes, she has only relied on herself to rise to her current position. No ordinary person could ever achieve that. It's said that she's the one behind the constant expansion of the Jade Chamber. It's the second most important thing to her. Even if she ever gave up the position of Tianquan, she would never give up the Jade Chamber. I'm Mora, of course.
All Ningguang talked about was the Fatui this and the Fatui that. She said that after Rex Lapis was murdered, the Fatui have constantly been trying to sink their fingers into Liyue, and that they aren't to be trusted.
That is how the Fatui have always been. It doesn't surprise me in the least. No matter what they may be planning, you must be careful when dealing with the Fatui. Always be on your guard. Yes, as a matter of fact, there is. Today, we'll be gathering wild glaze lilies.
Glaze lilies? But why did we come all the way out here? Doesn't the garden in Yujing Terrace have some? Even Qingce Village has glaze lilies. Oh, right! Paimon remembers that Madame Ping is always tending to flowers. Maybe we could ask her.
No. Those lilies have all been gardened by people. They won't do it all. Dihua Marsh used to be full of glaze lilies. It is a sort of joyful flower that listens to human song. Before the Archon War, Dihua Marsh was all dry land and fertile soil. But the war caused landslides, and the land was flooded, turning it into the marsh you see now. Nearly all the glaze lilies were wiped out. Of course, there are some kinds of flowers that have been preserved and gardened by people in the city. But very few people know that glaze lilies may still be found in the wild. Wild glaze lilies have the strongest fragrance. If we want to follow the true tradition of the rite of parting, we must grind up the wild lilies and place the powder in a censer of everlasting incense. But I'll need your assistance in gathering these flowers. That's correct. Your singing will surely bring out the strongest fragrance from the flowers. This little monster is known as a whopper flower. Strange. These petals look interesting. The glaze lilies used as a disguise were buried with the whopper flower for too long. The result seems to have surprisingly potent medicinal value. Let's collect what we can of these petals. Unfortunately, no. So what do you think of this farewell? We dare not refuse it. And that just about does it. Our preparations for the rite of parting are mostly finished. Given the ease of picking glaze lilies, I think this was a fitting end to our tasks, in more ways than one. I've had enough ventures in my life already. Beginning a new undertaking is always difficult at first, and requires no small amount of effort. And once business is at full steam, the stress of it all only wears away at you over time. So you must be careful to take the time to step back and re-examine yourself. If left unchecked, the wear and tear on your heart may go well past mending. Desperate times? Do they intend to exercise force? It seems inevitable, given the current situation. Surely the Liyue Qixing are not the sort to give in so easily. And what now? How is it that the Fatui have come under fire? You intend to use your neutral identity as an intermediary between both sides? Or will you use your sword to turn the balance? Neither path is an easy one, or taking a turn for the worse. I'm afraid I must leave now to handle things back at Wangsheng Funeral Parlor. I hope that Master Hu has been able to keep things under control for the moment. Consider your next course of action carefully, traveler. If you're trying to prevent an explosion, it may be wisest to look for the fuse first. The contract is fulfilled. That which thou seeketh is now bestowed unto thee. For my promise is solid as stone.
How sanctimonious.
What? So you're the Lord of Chiao? No, wait! That's an exciting twist and all, but why give the Gnosis to the Fatui?
I do not give it for free. I give it as agreed upon in the contract, for it is a matter solely between the Tsaritsa and I. Perhaps it's best that I explain. As you know, I've dwelt upon this world for more than 6,000 years. I witnessed the founding of Liyue, together with the Adepti 3,700 years ago. Even boulders that can withstand whirlpools will erode with the passing of time. I kept convincing myself that cracks had not begun to form, and that the end of my time had not yet come, until one drizzly day, as I was strolling along the harbor, I heard a merchant tell one of his workers, "You've finished your duties. Go ahead and call it a day." I stood motionless among the crowds, asking myself, have I already finished my duties?
Oh, Zhongli.
But as I began to consider relinquishing my divine role, I soon discovered that many reasons still remained to not hastily depart. Was Liyue, the city I had dwelt in for so long, already prepared to enter its next age? I decided that a test was needed in order to reveal the answer. So I feigned my own death, and gathered the cast of Child, the Adepti, and the Liyue Qixing to play their roles together on the stage that was Liyue. I was pleasantly surprised with the finale of the show that you all put on. Why, you even deserved an encore. The Adepti deserve the greatest applause, considering their years of seclusion. They hardly recognized the city, yet faced with such a crisis, they exerted the greatest amount of restraint. Not only did they manage to cooperate with the Qixing, but in the end, they even tried to understand the heart of the people. And hats off to the emissary dispatched by the Cryo-Archon to fulfill our contract, Signora. She managed to keep everything she knew in strict confidence, far from the eavesdropping ears of her colleague Child, just as I had requested. All the while, I carried on as Zhongli, and fulfilled the traditions of Liyue in this mortal form. Thank you for walking that path with me, traveler. These things were all a part of my script. The only unforeseen plot twist was the conduct of the Liyue Qixing. I had expected them to do no more than the Adepti, to come to the defense of Liyue. But when all was said and done, They seized the opportunity to supplant Liyue's divine protectors, and used the subsequent power vacuum left by my death to quickly gain complete control of Liyue. Ha! On the contrary, I think it is excellent. I had always feared that it was too soon for them to take over from me, and it was also that which I longed for the most. As such, this is the best parting gift anyone could have given this god of old. Now then, is there anything else you wish to ask me? Realistically speaking, there is no such thing.
Huh?
However, I am the god of contracts. For thousands of years, I have made countless contracts. If the deal was of no benefit, then I certainly would not be inclined to agree to it. My agreement with the Cryo-Archon will be the last of my contracts as the Geo-Archon. My contract to end all contracts. As for the bargaining chip that the Tsaritsa used to balance the scales, uncover that answer for yourself in your future journeys.
Hey, Zhongli! Look at this! Everyone in Liyue is caught up in their emotions, thinking that they'll never see Rex Lapis again. And here you are looking all relaxed.
Why would I not feel more at ease after laying down the burden I have borne for 3,700 years? Right, if the two of you can spare the time, I should treat you to a meal at the Shinya kiosk.
Ha! That sounds like big talk, Zhongli. Paimon might have believed you if you were treating us to some third-round knockout, but you'd have to pay out your nose just to stand inside Shinya kiosk. Are you sure you can afford it?
You're right. I do lack the Mora. As the Rex Lapis Morax, I can easily create Mora. But since I have chosen to walk this earth as the mortal Zhongli, I should abide by the same rules that mortals do. When I was journeying with you, though I still had the Gnosis in hand, I knew that I must soon retire from my role as an Archon, so I had to rehearse a little for my new life. Well, we were only spending Fatui money. You don't have to say it like that. In the City of Commerce, we do not merely exchange money or goods. We also exchange knowledge, memories, and foresight, as well as positions, roles, and lives. The Archon Morax could never experience life as the true mortal Zhongli could, no matter how many times he descended to be with his people. I must thank you for that. I will treasure the memories that I made as Zhongli, traveling the streets of Liyue with you. That is true, but there is no journey that does not end. No meetings without partings. Fear that continuing your journey may be difficult. The nation that neighbors Liyue by sea, Inazuma, is presently closed. The Electro-Archon Ball. And just as the people of Liyue preferred to call me Rex Lapis, she too goes by another name among locals in Inazuma. That is the case. And since Raiden is also the shogun of the Inazuma Bakufu, people call her the Raiden. It's because of visions. And faced with circumstances beyond their control, humans often bemoan their lack of power. But if a person shows true strength of will at a desperate and fateful moment in their life, the gods will look upon them with favor. This is what visions are. Magical foci bestowed upon those who have been acknowledged by the god. But starting from last year, the Raiden Shogun began promulgating the Vision Hunt Decree. Yes, it was an order to seize all visions within Inazuma's borders, and to inlay them upon the hands of a statue of the 1,000-armed, 100-eyed god. I should think that in the Raiden Shogun's eyes, it is precisely because they are divine blessings that they should be under the sole dominion of divinity. The Animo Archon is the god of freedom, and the Geo Archon is the god of contracts. For her part, the Raiden Shogun is the god of eternity. It seems as though she has finally decided to eliminate any unstable elements that could pose a threat to her eternal realm. The fact that even I, the oldest of the seven, have now passed away will only strengthen knowing her. She must have again quoted that adage she is most fond of when proclaiming that decree to her people. 7 ideals for 7 gods, and of these, eternity is nearest unto heaven. All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know? Are indeed false accusations, but it remains undeniably true that Child did send people to the Jade Chamber to prevent the Adepti and the Qixing from defeating the ancient god. I've heard that Ningguang is busy milking that for all it's worth on the foreign relations front at the moment, browbeating the envoys of the Fatui. Ha! Those poor Snezhnayan diplomats. If it were not for Child's exalted position as a harbinger, I'm certain that they would have shifted all the blame to him and called for his dismissal by now. All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know? Ah, that was a good one. Failing a divine trial. How they came up with that excuse, I will never know. That said, the reason why the Qixing were so eager to resolve the incident and stop pursuing the culprit was indeed because they received news in secret that Rex Lapis was not dead. I hinted as much to the Adepti as well. How did I accomplish that, you ask? Have you ever heard of this particularly convenient Adepti art known as gifting dreams and visions? All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know? The Mora present now will not vanish, but the Golden House will indeed have to cease operations for a lengthy period of time, since creating Mora requires the use of the Geo Arc. Yes, this is indeed a major issue from a financial standpoint. Well, I suppose we'll just leave such troublesome matters to the Liyue Qixing to debate. Oh, a private fund. This does seem like a good, logical, common-sense idea. It's a shame. It's a shame that I didn't think of it at the time. All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know? The time of the Adepti has long passed. If even the Liyue Qixing don't want to face that truth, then what future is there for Liyue? Kuching is absolutely right in saying this. Now, though I did laud Ningguang's desire for power, believing this to be a good thing, and thought as a matter of course that she must have been behind the Qixing's plan to take governing power over Liyue from the hands of the gods and Adepti, could the original person who brought up the idea of seizing power have been... All right then. Was there anything else you wish to know? Well then, I suppose you'll have to find a way to get inside this closed nation. Have patience. I suspect that some serendipity must first come into play.